Okay, so good day everyone. This is the second part of your first module because we're already done with the first part and that was the content of your prelim exams. Now, we are now here in audience analysis. If you can still remember, I told you that we will end our prelims here in flexibility under the basic principles of effective communication because the audience analysis part is already a part of your midterms exam. So this audience analysis, kung mapapansin nyo, konti lang siya, diba? Pero bakit ko siya sinama sa midterms? It is because this is actually a very long topic to discuss. Ito yung topic na sinabi ko sa inyo na sana nagawa natin ng face-to-face because it is more exciting and enjoyable when done face-to-face compared sa ganitong online. Kasi this will tackle a lot of topics na na-experience natin from our day-to-day lives. But unfortunately, due to different circumstances, we're not able to meet ng face-to-face, kaya gagawin ko na lang siya ng online. But I will do it as enjoyable as if it's done face-to-face. Okay? So, as I was saying, or as I've said in your GCs, walang module to. Walang module yung audience analysis. Kung ano yung nakikita nyo sa module 1, eto na lang siya. So you have to take note, okay? Meron naman akong i-present sa inyo later on. Ito yun. But this module kasi is not mine. I just use it as a reference. Kaya hindi ko siya pwedeng ibigay lang basta sa inyo dahil, of course, respect to the ones who own this module. That's why, if may gusto kayo, anyway, marirepeat nyo naman ng marirepeat itong ating video lecture or pre-recorded lecture. So you can jot down information which you think is very important na magagamit nyo sa midterms exam. Okay? So, let's start. So, the content or the coverage of your midterms exam will be this one, audience analysis, and the second one is the globalization, which was already discussed to you. Isa rin yung pre-recorded lecture. So, sa mga hindi nakakaalam, just go back to our GC, have a back read kasi nandun na lahat, the videos and as well as the module. Okay, so we'll go with audience analysis. So in purposive communication, we've already discussed about the different elements. If you can still remember, we have sender, message, receiver, feedback, channel. So those are the basic, sabi natin, basic elements that you need to have in order for you to have communication. Now, what is the difference between receiver and audience? The difference between a receiver and an audience is that receiver is yung yung talagang pinagbigyan mo ng message. Audience naman, ito yung hindi mo control. Yung kahit sino na makakuha ng message mo kahit unintentional, they can be your audience. For example, ako tsaka yung kaibigan ko, nag-uusap kami, nagchichismisan kami, ganyan. Yung environment naman is we're at the mall. Tapos ako, yung sender, kasi may chinichismis ako sa kaibigan ko, siya yung receiver ko. Ngayon yung mga taong dumadaan sa paligid namin, dahil nga malakas siguro yung pagkakakwento or whatsoever, they can be treated as our audience. Kasi kahit hindi ko man sa kanila intentional sinabi yung yung message, doon ko lang sasabihin sana sa receiver, narinig pa rin nila because they understood the message. So yun yung makakapagsabi na ikaw ay isang audience kapag you understood the message. Kahit naman hindi naman sa'yo yun talaga ibibigay ng sender. That is why it is very important, diba? If you can remember or if you are very familiar, kapag nagpo-post tayo online, we always say the phrase, think before you click, yung mga ganyan. Kasi nga, sabi ko sa inyo, di ba, in communication, sender will always be the one responsible for the message. Kapag ikaw nag-post ka ng something na nakaka-offend, hindi mo, tapos may mga na-offend kang group of people, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, ay, hindi para sa inyo to, hindi para sa inyo to, para lang to sa mga nakakagets. Kasi, maybe you are pertaining to your receivers na sana makakakuha lang noong joke mo. Pero meron kang na-offend the group of people. Naintindihan nila yung joke mo, na-offend sila at the same time because they were also your audience. Ang social media is a very, very, very big platform. Hindi mo pwedeng mapili kung sino lang yung makakakita ng message mo, lalo na kung yung post mo is public naman. So, always make sure na kapag gagawa ka ng ganung move, think twice or as much as possible, think as much as you can before posting something kasi hindi pwedeng, if you're very professional now or if you will be professionals in the future, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na hindi naman para sa kanila to. Para naman to sa mga ganitong tao. Okay? Kasi malawak po ang social media. You can't choose your audience. Okay? So that is how audience analysis works. So I have here the definition of audience analysis. So, knowing the audience, understanding their level and how they need to receive the information, also known as skills in audience analysis. So, yun siya. Knowing your audience, understanding their level and how they need to receive the information is the audience analysis. Also, a key element in effective communication is audience analysis. Audience here not only refer to the people listening to you in a public speech, rather it refers to anyone who is expected to receive the message you're sending. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina. I have here a video, pero isasend ko na lang to sa GC ninyo para mas mapanood nyo siya alone or para mas maintindihan nyo siya na mabuti. Okay? This is an example na ng clip. If you watch Modern Family, maybe you've came across this video clip already. Pero if hindi, okay lang, panoorin nyo na lang. Etong video na to is makakapagsabi siya or makakapag-explain siya na talagang hindi mo mapipili kung sino ang audience mo. That's why always think before saying something. Always think twice, thrice, or maybe 4 times, or maybe more bago ka magbitaw ng mga salita because words are very powerful. Okay, so that's audience analysis definition. Now let's go back to your module. Now, napakaraming pwedeng gawin para ikaw ay makapag-audience analysis. Ikaw as a sender, kinakailangan na dapat alam mo kung paano i-analyze yung magiging audience mo. It is because, sabi ko nga sa inyo, it's your responsible to be sensitive enough na hindi ka makakapagsabi ng mga words na pwedeng maka-offend sa certain group of people. Or aside from that, para ikaw, sa sarili mo, you will sound very professional to other people. Dahil nga, di ba, in purposive communication, you are being honed to become a professional speaker later on. So we have here different groups, no? We have understanding situational characteristics, incorporating demographics, seeking common ground, identifying prior exposure, identifying audience disposition, gathering information about your audience, and situational audience analysis. Sobrang haba nito. But I'll try to make it as short as possible kasi ang pagpapokusan ko lang sana is yung mga pwede nyong magamit with your midterm exam. Kasi the discussion of this is yun nga very lengthy and marami siyang activity sana na magagawa if we're doing face-to-face. Pero since we're not, I'll just explain it to you. Okay, first is understanding situational characteristics. Pag sinabi nating understanding situational characteristics, from the word itself, ito ay depende sa audience mo. Depende sa sitwasyon. Kaya nga siya situational characteristics. Hindi ito iisa, pwede itong pabago-bago, pwede siyang iba sa audience mo ngayon, iba din sa magiging audience mo next time. So, ipagpalagay natin in this whole discussion that you are a speaker. Let's say, for example, you are called to be a speaker for a seminar. May seminar ka na pag-i-speakeran. Kunwari, yung seminar na yun is about ano bang mga issue for things ngayon. Let's say, drug campaign or teenage pregnancy. Tapos ikaw as a very knowledgeable speaker, ikaw yung magiging speaker. Ngayon, paano ka magiging effective? Paano makakatulong yung tinatawag natin na audience analysis? Let's see. Size. Ano ang size? Sabi, does size matter daw ba? In purposive communication, yes, it does. Size matters in purposive communication. Why? Ano yung pinag-uusapan nating size? Ano yung pinag-uusapan nating size dito sa purposive communication? It is what? The size of your audience. Malaki ba o maliit ba yung audience mo? Marami ba sila o onti ba yung audience mo? So, meron dito mga pwede mong ma-take note if ever you will have small groups. For example, pag small groups, sorry, what happened? Yan. For small groups, you can, what? You can do more interactions. You can tailor more detailed and specific message. Pag large group naman, less ang interaction. Mag-anticipate ka ng reaction at mag-craft ka ng widely accessible message. Kunwari, ako sa classroom ninyo, sabihin natin, you are 30 plus, let's say. Tapos, kayo ba, kapag kinakausap ko kayo, do I say, okay, naintindihan mo ba, student A? Naintindihan mo ba, student B? Naintindihan mo ba, student C? I don't do that, right? Kasi it will take time, it will take effort, mapapagod ako, and syempre nakakaburyong siya sa mga students kasi isa-isa kayong tatanungin. Rather, what do I say? Do you understand, class? Lahat na kayo natawag ko, right? And lahat na kayo pwedeng mag-answer sa akin. Because that's a technique that I do whenever I have large group of people. Pero, kapag ang audience mo naman ay onte, let's say you only have 2 to 3, you can, pwede naman na hindi mo gawing, naintindihan nyo, do everyone understand? Hindi na ganon. Pwedeng, or does everyone understand? Hindi na siya ganon. Ang magiging ano mo na is, okay, Clara, did you understand? Okay, Mark, did you understand? Pwede mo na silang kausapin ng isa-isa kasi nga, kokonti lang naman sila. Hindi naman masa-sacrifice yung time na meron kayo sa seminar na yon. Let's say for example pa, bakit kailangan? Bakit tanungin niyo ako, ma'am, bakit kailangan tawagin mo pa sila isa-isa? Pwede rin namang sabihin mo na lang na everyone kahit dalawa sila. Kasi very important sa communication na nagbi-build ka ng relationship together with your audience. Kasi para mas magkaroon sila ng comfortability, para mas magkaroon sila ng confidence sa mga sinasabi mo, mas magiging kapani-paniwala ka kapag from time to time, hinihingi mo yung opinion nila o kaya naman, from time to time, pinapa-feel mo sa kanila na they are being heard. Okay? That's why, kapag small group of people, gawin nyo yung technique na yun na you go with more interaction, mas specific yung message mo. Like for example, ang pinag-uusapan nyo is about pandemic experiences during online classes experience during pandemic. Kapag tatatlo lang naman ang audience mo or dadalawa lang, pwede kang magtanong ng personal nila na experiences. Kapag naman marami sila, pwede kang magtawag ng 1 to 2 students o kaya naman gumawa ka ng widely accessible na message. Pwede mong sabihin na, sino dito yung mga mag-present lang sa attendance tapos after nun matutulog na. Yung mga ganon, kasi large group of people naman sila, pwede silang magbigay sa'yo ng mga reactions and of course, their feelings about what you are saying. Okay? Very important na alam nyo dapat ang size ng inyong audience. Kasi isa pang importance niyan, for example, ako, kunwari kayo, di ba, you are a speaker. Tapos, ikaw na speaker, ang nagawa mo na what they call this activity ay para sa 100 people. 100 people. So ang ginawa mo, sobrang dami mong prepare. Naggawa ka ng by group, ganito, ganyan. Tapos pagdating mo sa venue, hindi ka pala na-inform na ang pagtotokan mo lang pala or ang audience mo lang pala ay lilimang tao lang pala. Excuse me. So of course, that will affect you as speaker. Bukod sa nasayang na yung effort mo, nasayang resources mo, pwedeng may maging epekto rin yun sa pag-discuss mo. Kasi nga, yung naplano mo is for large group of people na pwedeng hindi siya maging effective to small groups of people. Okay, so that is size. I hope you understood kung paano nag-work ang size sa audience analysis. So very simple lang naman siya. It talks about how big or small your audiences are. So, if you have any question, you can ask me later on. Next, let's go with time. Time is very, very, what do you call this? Easy din naman to understand. Let's say, for example, eto. Dito sa time, dalawa ang pinag-uusapan natin. Una, time of the day. Kung kunwari, mag-i-speak ka ba ng lunch, mag-i-speak ka ba ng dinner, mag-i-speak ka ba ng morning. And yung pangalawa naman is kung gaano kahaba yung speech na gagawin mo. Okay? Short speeches need to be concise. Alam niyo na yung concise, we've already discussed that. Longer speeches can take more time to develop a message. Chronemics or body clock refers to the time of the day or day of the week speech is given. Certain times, like this and like that. Ngayon, dito sa purposive communication, it's very important na i-consider mo yung dalawang yun. Unang-una, time of the day and the, what do you call this? The shortness or the longness of your speech. O, sige, let's say for example, time of the day. Time of the day, di ba sinabi ko sa inyo before that there will be barriers if ever ang klase natin is before lunch. Kunwari sabihin natin, 11:30 ang dismiss natin, 11:30 a.m. Tapos, 12 p.m. na, hindi pa rin ako nagdi-dismiss. Ang dami ko pa rin sinasabi. Siyempre, magkakaroon na tayo ng mga barriers doon, right? You will have psychological barriers kasi hindi na kayo nakakoncentrate, physical barrier kasi masakit na yung tiyan nyo and whatsoever. So, hindi na magiging effective ang communication. Ikaw as a speaker, dapat alam mong gawan ng paraan yung mga ganun. Like for example, konti na lang yung nabigay sa'yo na time or magla-lunch time na yung gagawin yung nabigay sa'yo na time. Make sure that you will make your audience still as lively as they were during the first speakers. Yung hindi sasagi sa isip nila yung mga pagkain or whatsoever. Pwede kang magpa-activity. Depende na sa'yo yan as a speaker. Lalabas yung mga techniques mo dyan and whatsoever. And of course, ikaw din kailangan mong ilagay sa isip mo na kapag alam mong ganun na, don't prolong your speech. Kung kaya mo namang i-make siyang concise, short but concise, kung kaya mo naman siyang i-summarize, do it. Kasi, mas pangit yung sobrang haba, ang dami mong sinabi, yung nasa isip nila is pagkain na lang, lunchtime na lang, uwian na lang. Ganun siya. So, of course, you should adjust because you are the speaker. Next is the longevity, what do you call this? The duration of your speech. Ganun din. If sinabihan ka na you should cut the time or masyado nang ginagabi, sabihin natin, masyado ka nang sumusobra sa time na binigay lang sa'yo, you should know how to make your speech in a summarized format. Kahit hindi yun yung na practice mo, dapat alam mo kung paano siya gagawin para naman hindi maapektuhan yung credibility mo as a speaker. And second is yung tingin sa'yo ng iyong mga audience. Okay? So that's time. That's the two things you should consider. First is the time of the day. Kailan mo ibibigay yung speech? Ano yung mga dapat mong gawin kapag kunwari ang ibibigay mong speech is very early in the morning, 7 a.m. tapos Monday pa. Siyempre, galit na galit yung mga kabataan sa mga ganyan. Ako din naman, ayoko din naman ng 7 a.m. more Monday. So, ano yung mga gagawin mo na techniques para nandun pa rin yung isip nila at wala na sa weekend, gano'n. And second is the duration of your speech. Okay, so that's time. Very, very easy. Location. Sa location, dalawa rin po ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. When we talk about location, it doesn't just talk about the geographical location. Geographical location, one thing din yon. But the second one is kung tama ba yung lugar na yon sa pangyayarihan ng event mo or ng seminar mo. Okay, let's say for example, geographical location first. Kunwari magkaklase tayo. Tama ba na ang klase ay gawin natin sa Banseto, sa open field? Hindi, di ba? Kasi Banseto is for partying, di ba? Party. Banseto is for leisure time. Banseto is for eating and whatsoever. Hindi naman pwedeng magklase ka doon kasi hindi mo naman mapipigilan yung mga tao sa paligid nyo na magsaya tapos kayo is nandoon. Kayo yung nasa maling geographical location. Klase po ang nagiging natin example. Next naman, For example, nasa classroom naman. Classroom, very magandang classroom. Yung classroom na pagpupuntahan nyo is maganda yung upuan. Wow! May 2 aircon, tatlong aircon. Wow! Sobrang ibibit yung heat index, ganong level ng lamig. Tapos may water dispenser para pag nauuhaw kayo, pwede kayong uminom. Ano ba? Merong TV para pag magpe-present si teacher, makikita niyo siya agad. Ano pa ba? There are magagandang upuan, sofa yung mga upuan natin, and meron pa kayong desk per student. So lahat maganda, right? Pero paano pag yung classroom na yun is walang ilaw, walang saksakan? Yun nga lang, maganda siya pero wala siyang ilaw, wala siyang saksakan, wala siyang bintana para mag-pass through ang light. Do you think that's the right location? No. Kasi kahit it's geographically correct, kasi you're in a classroom and almost lahat ng kailangan nyo nandun, meron isang makakahinder ng learning experience nyo or learning environment nyo doon sa geographical location yun. Meaning, hindi pa rin yun yung right location kasi nga walang ilaw. Tendency, hindi nyo makikita yung module, hindi kayo magkakakitaan ni teacher, hindi nyo mababasa yung mga pinapakita and whatsoever. Okay? So that is how you assess the location for your audience. Okay, that's audience analysis. Huh? Yeah, tama. Situational characteristics, location. Next is mobility. Mobility is very, where's mobility? Ayan pala. Mobility is very beautiful if we will talk about it. Mobility kasi, nakakita na ba kayo ng billboards? Have you seen billboards already? Billboards na kahit hindi billboards, yung posters na, for example, M, the letter M logo, then now open. Yung mga ganon. Saan nyo nakikita yon? Di ba usually nakikita natin yun sa daan, sa roads. Yung kapag ang bilis-bilis mo nakamotor ka or naka-car ka, makikita mo sa road, meron sa mga gilid na poste M, tapos now open, 30 kilometers. Nakikita nyo mga ganon? Bakit kaya yung mga ganon is sobrang onti ng text? Bakit sobrang onti ng nakasulat? What do you think? I'll give you time to think. Okay, so I'll answer it naman right away. The reason is that, kasi yung audience doon is gumagalaw. Diba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, roadside. Ibig sabihin, ng mga makakakita ng tendency is yung mga nakamotor, nasa car, nasa truck, yung kahit makita lang nila lang isang beses, tatatak agad sa isip nila, may open na McDo. Open na yung McDo. 30 kilometers yung McDo from here. Ganon. So, yun yung reason bakit yung mga ganong posters ay, what do you call this? Sorry, nauubos ang time natin. I will continue it. Sorry, hindi tayo naka-pro. Bakit ayaw nyo man? Wait lang, darling.